What's the difference between getting used to something and living through something? In the midst of this global pandemic, it's very easy to get used to being physically isolated, separated, and distanced. We hope to flatten the curve of this pandemic so that we can have and gain the resources that we need so that we can meet this disease and live through it and get beyond it and then get back to thriving. But what's the difference between getting used to something, like getting used to being isolated, getting used to living with this constant anxiety, and living through this? It seems like it would be a very big distinction, but I think it's actually a very thin line. We can get used to almost anything. It's just a simple little thing. Doesn't seem to be that big of a deal to be really isolated, separated from other people. But with that comes a little bit of weight. It's harder for us to go to the store. It takes more work for us to connect with other people. We sometimes have to be the ones to initiate that extension to another person. And that might feel threatening. What if they don't want to? What if they have time? What if they don't have time? What about the whispers that are in my own head? So it becomes sort of a process of becoming aware of what's happening in our own mind, the stories that we're being told, the emotions that we've gotten used to, the feeling that, well, this is just the anxiety that I have to deal with, and it's simply what is. And forgetting that we're not really alone. There are other people out there who also feel that weight. So when we find ourselves in that moment, when we have that connection with another person, whether it's through a telephone call or a card, or reaching out to them, seeing them in the store from afar, there are connections that can be made that we can relate to. So how will we hold the space for them and for ourselves? Sometimes that getting used to something becomes more a matter of assuming that because something had been in the past means that it will be once again. Not gonna lie, this global pandemic is very unnerving in many, many ways. It's alarming on a deep level. And I am not the only one who feels that way. You may even feel that way. And so we are all connected by this common experience that we don't really know what is happening. We want to know what's happening, but we may not. We can choose to break ourselves apart and assume that because we have to be isolated, that means that we can't really talk with one another. We must all be feeling something different. Or we can entertain the possibility that we might be a lot more connected than we think, even if we can't see one another. And that perhaps from that connection, we have the possibility of connecting with something else that we didn't expect. The difference, it seems, between getting used to something and living through it is recognizing that where we are now is not where we're always going to be. This right now is hard. This right now is scary. But we have within us this remarkable capacity for nobility, community, grace, peace, hope, unexpected connection. In addition to all of the other scary stuff that happens. So, is there scary stuff? Yes. Yes, there is. It's like a jumble. It's hard to know exactly where it's all going to end, what is going to happen, how are we going to get it sorted out? But within that, within this jumble, each of us holds a unique and precious perspective. And that precious perspective is the gift that you can share with those in your life. Our perspective doesn't mean that it's the truth and the only truth, but it means that it is how we see our world. We can be the many different petals of this chrysanthemum that is creation, this magnificent blooming of life and experience. And when we all gather together someday, because we will be able to share such remarkable stories together that it will be as if the garden of hope has bloomed within our community, within our hearts, and within ourselves. That's the difference between getting used to something and living through something. Let's live through this together. I'd love to hear if anything sparked for you during this video. Please, I invite you to comment below. Send me a note. I'm curious. I'm Catherine Gabriel-Jones. I'm an encouragement coach. And no matter how big the jumble is, I believe in you.